afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. I am really excited to have in the studio today Tiffany Lane. She is the founder and the CEO of The Right Lane. So we're going to learn a little bit about that. Long-term educator. I think that educators, especially when they want to do work in the field of tutoring and teaching students, are the best way to go. So Tiffany Lane, welcome to Dialogue with Deidre.
All right, thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about your background and what made you want to become an entrepreneur.
Well, a little bit about my background is I've been teaching for 16 years, and so just been in the education field, worked in daycare centers and boys and girls clubs prior to then, and I just decided that I wanted to start tutoring on the side. So I began in 2017, and after 2020 hit, that
was
itself.
COVID, yeah.
Yes. So it lended itself to a different platform for students to learn, and so literally one of my previous parents picked up the phone and said, well, do you have children at home? Teachers are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, no, I don't. And then I was like, well, maybe I could. And so with that, I reached out to a few more parents, and they needed, virtual support for homeschool during that time. And my husband wanted my girls had to be at home. So
Right.
And he was all for that. So it just turned in, it kind of created itself officially. So it was at that point that we went to attaining licensure for local, state, and government.
So now you have 2 locations, right?
I do.
So you're a busy lady.
I am very busy.
So what started as like virtual going
Yes,
into
ma'am.
COVID
Yes, ma'am.
has grown into, now that's amazing.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So talk to me about your locations, because being an entrepreneur is not an easy task.
It's not an easy task. Because we were home teaching virtually also. So the first location started in my home, and
Right.
in the city we were able to have businesses out of the home. And so when I decided, well, I wanted it to be, honestly, I didn't know what I wanted it to be. I didn't want to be in just a box of tutoring, because I wanted to offer like resources to parents. Mm-hmm. Parents have called asking for which schools to send children to, just different things like that. So I just decided, let me think about this and decide what I really wanted to be. And my mom and I had previously spoke about, she was kind of in good with someone for property in my hometown city. And so she was instrumental in helping me to get the building. Right. So we just branched out, and I went to a couple of the stakeholders in the community, and they don't have anything like that in the area. And so they really needed it for the children.
That's wonderful. So talk to me about, is it a school setting? Is it, an 8 to 5? Walk me through your model, your business model.
Well, it is, first of all, children-centered. So to say school, I don't think so.
Okay.
So being a teacher, there's cookie-cutter everything, and I just don't think that children are cookie-cutter learners. And so we have a 3-suite building, and so one is a little bit targeted for older children in the room that's for like kindergarten, first grade. It's all over the place, to say the least, but just so the kids can learn hands-on, they have a choice in what it is they want to learn. Yeah. And so we just schedule sessions as needed by the parents that we're serving.
So is it like, having grown boys, well, they're men now, and then having a grandson that at one point had challenges with math. Mm-hmm. And so Kumon was what we went to. Mm-hmm. And so it was able to kind of help him kind of focus on, being a little bit more proficient in that area. Now he's like off the charts. Mm-hmm. So is it an individualized approach that you have?
The individualized approach for the learning, yes. It may not only be done in an individualized setting.
Right.
So students are screened so that we can pinpoint exactly what the target areas are, and then individualize this an option or group. Honestly, I think that students learn best from being in a group setting and then to be able to feed off of each other. That's so good. One of the things I target is peer tutoring. Not that there won't be a professional in the setting, just that, to kind of facilitate students learning from each other.
So what do you think, Tiffany, you are taking from your years of being an educator, right? And transitioning that into, because it sounds like it's a successful business. You have 2 locations. That's amazing.
Okay.
I mean, I've been in business now 20 years, and I think at 15 years, I got a 2nd location.
Okay,
so,
okay. All right, so I might be on to
you're
something.
doing something. You're doing something really well.
Okay.
So how does that translate?
Well, one thing for sure, students have to have standards-based instruction.
Right.
They have to know what the goal is. It's just we don't have to get there the same way, and that's where children differ. What may work for little Johnny may not work for little Sally, and so they need to be able to have a voice in how they learn. And so it's just the integrated, hands-on approach where children are the voice of what it is that they learn, how they learn, what they're supposed to learn. And then they don't even catch that it's the learning. It's the fun aspect of it and being engaged.
I was talking to someone who's been an educator for like 36, 38 years recently, and she talked about how education has evolved. You know, when you think about a lot of, children today come from one-parent households, and
Absolutely.
you don't even know if they may have something to eat or not.
Absolutely.
And so, learning is a challenge. What would you say, since you've been in education a minute now, and now you have your 2 centers, what would you advise a parent to do? Especially that parent that's working all those jobs and just barely has time enough for little Johnny.
I would definitely say I'm always, this is my term, and my family kind of, picks at me, but they get it. And I say it takes a village. And I've often said it takes a village to raise me because I'm not there yet. And so they would definitely lean on the village. Lean on the village. There's someone in your village, and I often tell them when we have parent conferences, this is our child. This is our, journey from beginning to end. You may not be my child right now is I have one, and then one is somewhere else right. Because I was able to depend on the village trying to make sure they get to camps and picked up at the same time. You just have to have that support system. And for those who do not have that support system, that's why I wanted to add that resource word into it this time, because then I want to be able to offer those resources. If you don't have a village, then how can I help you find your village?
That's wonderful. So if someone wants to be a part of the right lane, what would they have to do to get their child involved?
So we have a website, so they
and
can
it's
go
a really
and visit
nice
the
website.
Thank you. Yes, so they can go and visit the website and kind of learn about the 2 different locations, the history of the company, how it got started, what we offer. There's some frequently asked questions, and then reach out to me. There's a Facebook page. There's an Instagram page. So we're on the social platforms.
Okay, that's wonderful. So now tell me about some of this other stuff that you're involved in, okay? You've assisted with Girl Talk, so it sounds like you're active in the community. You, what is the Girls Are Pearls and Guys with Ties mentoring programs?
So that is a mentoring program that we kind of was dealing in the school system, and I just kind of brought it and tweaked it because I wanted it to be a community-based and not just from that school system only. And so it's just where we mentor girls and guys and just make sure that they're learning the basic essentials for being able to make good grades, have interviews, to be able to attain jobs, and just something positive. And, there's always something negative to be involved in. So just to offer something that would just grab their attention and kind of keep them on the right track.
Do you think that girls and boys learn differently?
Absolutely.
You do? What do you think that difference is?
More so, first of all, what's important from your upbringing.
Yeah.
Because one particular boy may learn the same as one particular girl. Mm-hmm. So I think individuals learn differently, more so than girls versus boys.
Okay.
But then you do have the hands-on. You think of those, like, things that guys need to just know, like how to change a flat tire. But no, I want the girls to know how to change that too. Because if anything happened today, I'm going to have to call my husband because I'm not actually busted my tires up in Memphis My car's in the shop right now. Yes.
Oh, no.
I literally called my brother. I was like, I'm not on the way to meet you. I just busted my tires. And I called my godfather, and I just chilled for the rest of the day because I didn't know. But again, it takes a village to raise me, and I still was able to lean on my village in the time of trouble. And so even if they don't have all of those things together, just to build that community so that they will have someone to lean on.
I think it's just so important for you mentioned like girls learning how to change tires. My youngest son, and he's going to kill me for saying this, but he was dating a girl in high school and she had just gotten a car.
Okay.
And for Christmas, he bought her like a tire repair, He thought it was practical. She didn't like it. He thought it was practical. And so, but being a young lady, we need to know how to do those things. And then young men, today, a lot of them don't know how to tie a tie. And then what happened to cursive writing? In school, I don't think it's taught anymore.
It's my 9-year-old's in 4th grade this year, and that was one of the things they were kind of incorporating back in.
Good.
Such a struggle. And she was like, well, the state test has to be it's going to be written in cursive, so I've got to be able to read it. So it's kind of phasing back in, and that's good to see. So, yes.
Well, but at the 4th grade, I'm glad to hear it because I think my grandson, he's going to the 10th grade, and he's doing a summer program. So in the 10th grade, he's learning cursive writing.
Okay.
But he's learning it, right? I didn't even realize that it was no longer taught. Oh, my goodness. We've got so much work to do.
We have so much work to do. I have a very close, I will say, colleague. I have to write everything in print because they're unable to read cursive.
Word.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm so happy that 4th graders are now learning, and even 10th graders are now learning.
Yes.
And so, because that's just, it's 60, that's how I write.
Absolutely. Without even thinking.
Not even thinking. Okay. And so it's hard for me to print these days. So there is a program I want you to talk about. I think it's a scholarship, the Terry Whiteley?
Yes.
1128. Let's talk about that.
Okay. So Terry Whiteley is my mom. Very touchy subject. My mom, it's funny because my husband even said he's like, she was like your sister, not just my mom. So my mom recently passed away. Her birthday is November 28th, 11/28. Oh. And she was actually getting ready to be married again. Oh. And so a week and a little bit before her wedding, we had to go into the hospital with a few challenges. And she stayed for 2 weeks and 4 days. And she passed away on her birthday.
Oh, my goodness.
She passed away on her birthday. Yes, so that was tough. And I said earlier, this is something that, especially in my second location, that she was supposed to kind of handle that in, and I was going to handle this in. So something that we were working on together for sure. And so it was a little bittersweet to still go ahead, but I know that she would want me to go ahead.
Oh, absolutely.
So with the scholarship, we want to just encourage young people to keep going. One thing, I'm currently a grad student, so one thing that I noticed, like scholarships, it's easier, I'll say, to attain grants, funding, and everything like that for undergraduate degrees, not so much for master's degrees. Yeah. And my mom had continued on and got her elevation in theology, and so we want to offer the scholarship to those who are going into college as an undergraduate, of course, but also for those that are seeking higher degrees, and as well as those who are going into the ministry to attain some kind of theology certification or degree.
That's wonderful. Now, when will that open up, that scholarship open up?
So we are planning to launch everything in August. Good. So that the application will be due by 11/28, and then it's going to be a spring scholarship, which will be awarded January 28th.
Okay.
And the thing about January 28th is that's her fiance's birthday.
Oh.
So we just wanted to keep it with the 28th.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing. Well, and so I know you'll never forget 11/28.
Never.
And what a wonderful tribute to your mom.
Thank you.
that's going to be a blessing for someone who is looking to get into theology, someone who is thinking about, their spiritual growth and
Yes.
helping others. And that's just going to be an incredible blessing. So we're going to, are you going to put the scholarship information on your website?
It will
Or,
be tied in
Okay.
to the Right Lanes.
Okay.
Because we also want to do a scholarship for those, not necessarily under that, but more like a fund to where if students are not able to, or parents are not able to afford the tutoring services, that we'll still be able to kind of offset that, and as well as meeting other needs. And there's community leaders that I've already met with who are willing to donate so that children can just get what they need. Right
Yes.
now, we have 2 little boys who are able to just go get their haircut whenever they get ready, and they never have to pay for that. So things like that, we just want to keep it all going, and that's something that my mom absolutely would have done every year. Christmas for so many children, we would just go buy Christmas gifts, and I mean, she just took care of everybody's children were hers. I'm her only daughter, and so that was our thing.
Yes.
She's, I would say, my one and only, and so I used to really be upset about having to share her until I realized, no, I have lots of other brothers and sisters, and so I don't say one and only anymore. I say the first of many.
Yes. So she was a blessing to many young folk.
Many.
Well, it sounds like you're about to pass it on, which is going to be an additional blessing. And her legacy is living on through you and the work that you're doing, one. And two, the scholarship is just going to expand that blessing. And think about all the lives she will have changed because of you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a blessing.
Thank you.
So, Tiffany can come back on Dialogue with Deidre at any time, okay?
Thank
and
you.
I want her to be able to, and Megan and Kirk, we're going to make sure of this, when that scholarship opens up, we need to mention it on the show. We need to drive people to the website. We need to share that information because we want people to know about it because she's about to bless some young folk. And I'm just so glad. Now you crying, I'm about to cry over here. We both about to be crying on the show. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So
We'll get it together.
we are gonna get it together. Okay, we are gonna get it together. So we're not gonna close this show out yet. How much time do we have? About 10 minutes. Okay, well, we're going to keep it rolling.
Yes, ma'am.
We're getting it together.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you are about to bless people and it's going to be all good. All right. So, talk to me about, because the 2 locations are in Mississippi, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. And so, what made you decide to expand? That's what I want to know. Because you had your 1 location and then you decided to open up that second one. Well, I'm wiping my tears too over here.
Mainly just this is a plan that we already had.
Okay.
So
part of the expansion.
Yes, so it was already a part of it. And so when I decided to relaunch here and then go ahead and expand, I went into the community first. I reached out to the Boys and Girls Club to just see if they offered services such as this or any of the things that I kind of wanted to do. I reached out to a Christian academy there and spoke with the principal there. And even when I went to get the license at the city hall, everybody's comment was the same. We do not have this here. We need this here. We need this here. And just to meet the needs. It's one thing to already have it, on the table and to be planning it out, but to understand that it's needed.
Are you seeing parents bringing their children from, it's Olive Branch in New Albany?
Yes, ma'am.
And so, but are you seeing like surroundings?
Yes, ma'am.
See, that's
yes, ma'am.
That's impressive
yes,
because, parents understand even in those outlining areas. I mean, I'd be willing to travel wherever to help my child or my grandchild. So that's really, really a blessing, Tiffany. It is. Yeah. So to that parent out there that has a child that is struggling in school and there's an opportunity for you and your team and your teachers to assist, what would you tell them? How would you, because you got to have your elevator speech.
My elevator speech.
Your elevator speech to draw them in.
Yes.
What would you tell them?
Well, we have fun at the Right Lane, and it's just coming in, and you understand that your child gets to have a voice. That is so important to me. Children of all, shut up and sit down, go in the other room. But when it comes to what children need, I just think they know. At least they know a part of that. And so you can trust us with your babies. We're going to take care of them. We're going to love on them. We're going to provide their essentials, and we're going to educate them.
I think, and that's all any parent wants to know, that they're going to get what they need in terms of tutoring, and you're going to treat them well.
Yes.
I would tell my husband all the time when my boys were growing up, they're not us. This is a different age. They learn a different way.
Right.
Just because you were A student, Dr. Malone, doesn't mean Kirk and Brian going to be A
Right.
students. They learn differently. And so how is it, Trent, when you're talking to these parents, how do you get them to see, we're going to work with them? It may take some time. It may not be that 3 months. It may take 6 months to 9 months to get them.
Absolutely.
Because, parents want results like immediately.
They do.
And it just doesn't happen like that, right?
A big driving force is the state test
Okay.
for third graders. And I just consulted with a parent the other day, and the third graders were able to retake the state test in order to pass it. If they could, they had so many retakes. And the goal was that the child needed to pass the retake. But the time frame and the turnaround, I said, Mom, here's what I would do. I'll give you some options, and then you can decide. I said, does your child need to continue with services or begin and continue? Absolutely. I said, that's whether you do it now or whether the child repeats and just keep it going throughout the year. I said, once we take the diagnostic, I can immediately tell you if it's content that they're lacking or if it's test-taking strategies. I said, if it's content, then I'd suggest you allow the child to repeat the grade. And if it's test-taking strategies, I said, we can get it passed. Yeah, we can do test-taking strategies and a turnaround.
Okay,
if
good.
we have the content.
So you're giving parents an opportunity to make a decision that's in the best interest of their child.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, Miss Tiffany Lane, founder and CEO of The Right Lane. Thank you. Thank you so much
you
for
for
being on.
having me.
And you can come back anytime.
Well, thank you for the open invitation.
Absolutely.
I'll bring tissues.
Please, because I need a box, Megan. We need boxes over here, okay? But it's such a beautiful story, and it's such a beautiful tribute, to your mom. But more importantly, I know that she's looking down on you and what you're doing, and you're completing, your plan, the plan that you all had together.
Yes,
And what it's going to do is going to help a whole lot of children. So God bless you, and continue to do what you're doing, okay?
Thank you.
And come back anytime.
Yes, ma'am.
Tiffany Lane, The Right Lane, is on Dialogue with Deidre. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next Friday.